At first glance, it seems simple. A kiss, the title even helps. The mouth kiss. And everything we've learned to associate with that comes rushing in. Reconciliation, forgiveness, maybe love. But the longer you look, the less that gesture holds up. The bodies don't come together by choice. There's no intimacy, no exchange. What's there is a gesture that's demanded, watched, recorded. A kiss that isn't born between two people but between a debt and a rule. This painting doesn't show a meeting, it shows a settlement. And that's exactly where the discomfort comes from. Because something that seems almost too human, a kiss, here functions as an instrument of order. The scene takes place in a public space, open, controlled. At the center, a man kneels. His posture isn't romantic, it's submissive. He leans in to kiss a woman who remains upright. Her body doesn't lean toward him, doesn't respond. It simply holds the place assigned to her. Beside them, a child too young to take part, old enough to understand that something irreversible has happened. The grief is still fresh. There's no distraction for her, no visual comfort. Further back, a scribe. He writes as the kiss happens. That matters. Nothing here is spontaneous. The gesture has to exist on paper, it has to be proven. There's also a figure of authority holding a staff. He doesn't intervene because he doesn't need to. His presence is enough. And all around, witnesses, enough of them to make sure no one forgets what's being done, who is submitting, and who is receiving it. The space doesn't welcome anyone, it frames them. This kiss doesn't come from moral impulse, it comes from a system. In medieval tradition, serious conflicts, especially killings, could be resolved through public rituals of reparation. The wergild, the price set on a dead man's life, didn't erase the violence. It contained it. The offender exposed himself publicly, knelt, paid, kissed. The kiss here doesn't seal an inner forgiveness. It confirms an outward submission. It's a gesture that closes off a possible cycle of revenge, not because it healed anything, but because it reorganized the violence into something acceptable. The law wasn't after emotional reconciliation. It wanted to prevent more bodies. That's why the gesture had to be visible, humiliating, and unmistakable. This isn't about absolution. It's about containment. Pierre Jean van der Ouderaa paints this scene in 1879, the 19th century, an era obsessed with order, morality, and historical narrative. He doesn't choose a battle or a hero. He chooses a bureaucratic instant of violence, the moment when everything has already happened. The crime, the loss, and all that's left is the social mechanism trying to move forward. The painter is drawn to scenes where the individual is smaller than the system, where human drama exists but doesn't dominate the space. Looking at the Middle Ages, he isn't chasing exoticism. He's observing how ancient societies turned pain into procedure, and maybe, indirectly, he's looking at his own century too. The woman doesn't move. She doesn't pull back, but she doesn't welcome him either. Her body is a fixed point, a symbolic place. She represents the victim's family, but also something larger than need to be there, even without wanting to. The social role overrides the body. The child changes everything, because she's a reminder that nothing here resolves what actually matters. The dead don't come back. Grief doesn't end with a kiss. The silence of the gesture is heavy. There's no catharsis, no emotional closure. The conflict doesn't dissolve. It just changes shape. Today, this painting hangs in a museum, on display, viewed at leisure, but it still unsettles, because it forces us to face something uncomfortable. Justice doesn't always line up with human healing. Sometimes, justice is simply what stops the worst from continuing. The painting reveals a society that chose to survive by organizing violence, not eliminating it. And that didn't stay in the past. When the ritual ends, everyone goes home. The offender lives. The family goes on without the dead. The child grows up carrying that memory. The kiss served its purpose, and maybe that's what unsettles us most. Realizing that not every gesture that looks intimate is born from affection. Some exist only to keep the world running.